Dear Queenagers, I hope you have survived the blistering heat of this week. As I write this and as I'm talking to you now, it's 34 degrees in London and the mercury is still rising. There's a weird calm in the city. Feels like everyone is inside their houses with the curtains shut, and that lots of those who usually come in and out have not bothered. I've spent lots of this week reading about hot hacks to beat, how to beat the heat from Australians or people who live in Seville, people who are used to it being 40 degrees C. We've tried a few of them, but the most disastrous was definitely putting flannels in the freezer to cool down, and they went rock hard and stank of mould. But shutting all the curtains and closing the windows in the heat of the day has been a lifesaver, as has my trusty fan, which I have to say is my new best friend. I've had to turn it off to record this, so I'm steadily boiling. But in the heat, there have also been some silver linings. I've swum every day in the pond, and every single day, which is a first for me, I've seen kingfishers. Usually this is a rare and special blessing. Maybe you see them a few times a year. But perhaps they like the heat, who knew? Or more possibly they're breeding and have little ones that need feeding, so they're fishing more. Because not only have I seen the magic streak of that azure blue as the kingfisher whizzes down and up and down the pond, but I've also just spent like 10 minutes happily treading water and watching them on the branch of a tree. I've seen the little ones doing their inaugural flight, and I've even seen a couple of kingfishers dive into the water to catch fish, which is just completely magic. Every time it happens, I just can't believe that I'm right in the middle of London and here are these amazing kingfishers. Also, I read an amazing book called Kingfisher by Rosie Kelly. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize. I didn't recommend it in my list of books last weekend because, to be honest, I didn't really like the first chapter, but shows perseverance pays. I actually think it's one of the most beautiful and touching books I've read for ages. It's about a young gay man who falls in love with a Queenager. She's a poetry professor, and it's just really magic. Definitely worth a spot on your summer reading list. And a double kingfisher. I think there are other silver linings too. A big speech I was supposed to be giving, which would have taken kind of a day and a half out of my week, got cancelled because of the heat, which meant I've had lots more time to just be still and to write. And I've written a few pieces. I wrote about Sir Keir Starmer leaving Downing Street, and about my old friend and boss, Andy Burnham, looking set to be the next Prime Minister. If you'd like to have a look at those, the links are in the newsletter. One was in the Independent, one was in the Telegraph, but I've also republished a different version on my Substack, so you can read both of those if you'd like to. I have to say that the fact that Andy beat Reform in Makerfield by-election last week really gave me hope for the first time in a while. We'll have to see how it pans out, but at the moment, at least it feels optimistic. And this was also this week, it was funny for me because it's the week of the Cannes Lions Advertising Festival. And for years, I used to go there every year and we would drink enormous amounts of rosé. It was basically what you lived on all week and network for your life. It was pretty glamorous. I've partied on a private yacht with Fatboy Slim, doing like a private session on the decks. I hosted a do in a hillside chateau where Kylie Minogue and Ed Sheeran sang to all our advertising clients. And on the eve of Brexit once, I flew back to London on a private jet with Karen Brady playing the stewardess and handing out nuts and tea and coffee. That was quite fun. But this year, I've been calmly at home. But I did catch amazing Queenager Oprah Winfrey. Can you believe she's 72, who was at Cannes? And she was talking about the power of stillness, how we can only hear that small, sweet, still voice inside of us if we're quiet, and we quiet everything down and we give ourselves the space and the time to do that. It was an odd message for Oprah to be delivering in that frantic town, but it certainly resonated with me sitting at home, peaceful in my office. Stillness this year has been one of my massive priorities. Stillness, calmness, space, to be rather than to do. It's one of the wonders of being on silent retreat, that you spend so much time being still and quiet. But it's also a habit that we can build into our lives. It's free, which is great, and we don't need anyone else to be able to do it. So why not just try taking 20 minutes out of your day, lying on your floor and letting your mind rest? No phone, no podcast, just spend some time with yourself. The heat has meant languorous days at home rather than too much running around as parties and commitments were cancelled. I must say, I did feel hooray for all that time back, and I definitely feel better for it. But I do wonder when will I learn that actually less really is more? One of the other joys of the heat wave this week has been cold food, no cooking. I've discovered a new favourite meal, which is tara masalata with radishes, both ice cold out of the fridge, really delicious. I've also been tucking into piles of nectarines, cheap and so delicious at the moment, and strawberries, so good when in season, so disappointing when not. As Shakespeare said, ripeness is all. And when in the year is it riper than now, when the sun is at its highest? Another thing I've been really enjoying eating is cold watermelon and feta salad with mint. Or I just made myself a simple lunch, a mighty bowl of salad, long green lettuce leaves, rocket, tiny sweet tomatoes, homemade hummus, peppers I roasted on Sunday and left in the fridge with garlic and balsamic vinegar, a few grains, fennel and cucumber. Summer on a plate. And no cooking. Hooray. I'd love to know what you've been cooking in the heat and what you recommend. Midsummer means solstice. This winter, I went to Stonehenge for the first time ever for the winter solstice. And as the sun came up, we were inside the stone circle with the chanting druids greeting the north, south, east and west, the sun and the spirits. But even better, actually, even than being inside the circle, which was a first for me, was walking in over the hills. All around us, we could see others congregating too, their lights flickering as they approach the henge. I just love the sense that people in these islands have been making that pilgrimage to those sacred stones for so many millennia. We didn't go to Stonehenge last weekend for the solstice. In the summer, there were about 20,000 people, which I don't think would have been quite so mellow or so intimate. But instead, I went with a dear friend and my husband up to Boudicca's Mound on Hampstead Heath before dawn. It was quite spooky being there as the kind of light was coming in. And we did sun salutations as the sun began to creep over the hill. And then we sat and meditated as the sun rose, illuminating the grass, the land around us. Really incredible golden light. We breakfasted on fresh gooseberry muffins made by my friend and hot coffee, and we had the most lovely walk in the cool of the morning, about like 5:30 or 6 around Kenwood, and then swam in the ladies' pond at 7 a.m. as part of it's 100 years of the pond, and it was their kind of solstice gathering, so that was quite magic. We went home and went back to bed. It was only about 9 o'clock, but I already felt like I'd lived the longest day. Midsummer also means my wedding anniversary. We've done 24 years married and it's 30 years since we met in January coming up. That sounds like a long time, but somehow it doesn't feel it. In fact, with the kids away a lot, we feel more like we did when we were first together and child-free, which is an unexpected midlife bonus. We do a lot of lying around reading books and listening to music. It's funny how life circles round, a spiral. Often it's just the two of us, but any minute now, the piece will be over when the kinder return from uni for the summer. Then the silence of the house will be replaced by hordes of young'uns, boys in skirts, piercing, tattoos everywhere, and the laughter and bants of 20-something life. Another reason to be relishing the peace of the heat now. I've discovered the bliss of a cold shower. Usually I'm a bath girl, but I've realised that cold showers are to heat waves as hot baths are to chilly winter nights. I'm currently on about 3 cold showers a day. I particularly relish standing in front of the fan with wet skin. It's the only time I've felt cool all week. It's particularly challenging being a Queenager, having hot flushes when it's over 30 degrees. But I've decided that that's quite a good solution. And when you read this, I will be in a field somewhere in Wiltshire, performing one of our other kind of summer rituals. We go camping with a whole load of very old friends. We've been doing it for nearly 3 decades, and it started out with about maybe 5 or 6 couples, and now we've all got the kids, and we used to bathe them in buckets when they were babies. Now they're all in their 20s, some are even nearly 30. we're all a lot greyer and the tribe has multiplied hugely. But what's really lovely is how many of the young ones come back, blowing out their own parties sometimes to be there and bring many of their chums with them too. It's really a way of marking the years, seeing them all grow. What I'm really looking forward to is the first of the next generation of campers to be born. I think it can't be that long now. This week feels a bit like the calm before the storm. On Tuesday, we launch our new Noon Entrepreneur Club, sponsored by our friends at BKL. And we're having a big party at Bang Studios where we hold the London Noon Circle. In fact, if you fancy a London Noon Circle, come. We've got one of those on July the 6th. We've had over 500 Queenager entrepreneurs sign up. So, wow, thank you. And if you're coming, I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. And if you know a midlife female business owner or someone thinking of taking the plunge who might benefit from some free advice, community and support, do send them the link to the Queenager, to the Noon Entrepreneur Club. And if you'd like, and also we're creating a whole new thing. If you'd like to sell into what we call the Nooniverse, we've got 20,000 on this newsletter and a further 100,000 reach on social media. If you want to put your business, product, holiday home, coaching service, or anything else on our newly relaunched Noon directory, do check out the link in the newsletter. And finally, if you fancy a relaxing summery day out, next weekend, the 5th of July, I'm leading our Noon Walk, Swim and Circle on a farm just outside Warwick. It's a farm which belongs to Queenager Rebecca. We'll do a bucolic walk across her rewilded land, a dip in her huge sparkling private lake, and then we'll have cake and a noon circle, which I'll lead on the lawn by the house. A little taste of Queenager heaven, all yours for 25 quid. Still a few spots left if you fancy. So, thanks so much for listening, and I hope you've had a wonderful week. Much love.